Breaking news overnight on the Menendez brothers. The judge resentencing them to 50 years to life for the 1989 murders of their parents, which means they are eligible for parole.
The Menendez brothers, the crime that shattered Beverly Hills. Beverly Hills, a place where palm trees sway, mansions glitter, and the word perfect feels almost ordinary. But behind the golden gates of one of these luxury homes, a night of unimaginable horror would destroy that illusion forever. It's a story so twisted that Netflix dedicated an entire season of their hit Monsters series to it. Millions watched, captivated by the drama, the alleged abuse, the shocking trial. But away from the dramatized, often romanticized narrative presented on screen, what really happened on August 20th, 1989? What truths did Netflix leave out? And why, over 3 decades later, are the Menendez brothers still fighting for their freedom? This is the chilling, unvarnished truth of Erik and Lyle Menendez, 2 rich, handsome young men who shocked America by murdering their millionaire parents. Were they cold-blooded killers driven by greed, or broken victims pushed to the absolute edge? You think you know this story? Think again. Welcome to Evil Crime Archives, where power, danger, and deception collide. From the world's most ruthless criminals to the untold stories of the underworld, we uncover the secrets others fear to tell. Before watching the video, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. Chapter 1: The Perfect Family. To understand what happened on that August night, you need to understand what the neighbors saw versus what was really happening behind closed doors. To the outside world, José and Kitty Menendez had it all embodied the American dream all. José, a Cuban immigrant, rose from humble beginnings to become a powerful entertainment executive at Live Entertainment Inc., where he worked with Hollywood's elite. He was ruthless, brilliant, and feared in equal measure. Kitty, his elegant wife, wanted to become an actress, but after marrying José, she'd traded that dream to play the role of perfect Beverly Hills housewife. She devoted her life to their home and children. Their magnificent $5 million mansion on Elm Drive, symbol of luxury and triumph, represented their success. And their sons, Lyle, 21, and Erik, 18, were the pride of their parents. Lyle, confident and outspoken, attended Princeton University, while Erik was a soft-spoken and sensitive young man known for his remarkable talent in tennis. Together, they appeared to be the golden boys of privilege, handsome, athletic, and destined for greatness. Friends and neighbors saw them as the ideal family. But here's what the neighbors didn't see. Erik would later testify that the abuse started when he was 6 years old. 6. He'd describe being taken to his father's bedroom, being told this was normal, being threatened into silence. Lyle claimed he endured years of physical and emotional torture that their mother knew and did nothing. Whether you believe them or not, everyone agrees on one thing. Something was very, very wrong inside that mansion. And on August 20th, 1989, whatever had been building behind those walls exploded. Chapter 2: The Night of the Murders. On the quiet evening of August 20th, 1989, the Menendez mansion in Beverly Hills looked peaceful.
There are still no official suspects tonight in that strange double murder of a video company executive and his wife in Beverly Hills. But Action News has learned exclusively that detectives believe the killings were a so-called professional hit.
Inside, José and Kitty Menendez settled comfortably in their family room, watching The Spy Who Loved Me. The clock ticked toward 10 p.m., marking what seemed like another calm night in the luxurious life of the Menendez family. Moments later, the door opened, and everything changed. Their sons, Lyle and Erik, stepped into the room, each carrying a 12-gauge shotgun. In an instant, the peaceful atmosphere turned into chaos. The first blast struck José point-blank in the back of the head. The force was so extreme, it blew off part of his skull, killing him almost instantly. Kitty's terrified scream echoed through the house as she tried to escape, but she slipped on the marble floor. The brothers showed no hesitation. She was hit multiple times with one final shot to her face at close range. When the gunfire finally stopped, 15 shotgun shells lay scattered across the blood-soaked carpet. The once beautiful family room had been transformed into a scene of unimaginable horror. Chapter 3. The Flawed Cover-Up. Grief, Greed, and Growing Suspicion. Now, here's where it gets colder. After killing their parents, Lyle and Erik didn't panic. They didn't call 911. They calmly collected the shell casings, disposed of their bloody clothes, and hid the shotguns. Then they drove to a movie theater and bought tickets to Batman, creating a time-stamped alibi. They even stopped by a friend's house to be seen. Hours later, they returned home. At 11:47 p.m., Lyle called 911, his voice shaking. "Somebody killed my parents."
Beverly Hills emergency.
Yes, police.
What's the problem? What's the problem? What's the problem?
Someone killed my parents.
Pardon me?
Someone killed my parents.
What? Who? Are they still there?
Yes.
The people...
No.
Were they shot?
Hey, man,
Were they shot?
yes.
When police arrived, they found a scene of unimaginable brutality. But what struck investigators was how composed the brothers seemed. Too composed. Still, there was no forced entry, no evidence pointing to the sons. And José had enemies, powerful ones. For weeks, Lyle and Erik were treated as grieving victims, not suspects. At the funeral, they wore black Armani suits and wept in front of cameras. But then, they started spending. Chapter 4. Living Like Kings. In the months following the murders, Lyle and Erik Menendez began spending their newfound wealth at an astonishing rate. They burned through nearly $700,000 of their inheritance, indulging in a lavish lifestyle that stood in stark contrast to the tragedy that had supposedly shattered their lives. Lyle bought a Rolex, a Porsche, and even purchased a restaurant in Princeton, hoping to cement himself as a young entrepreneur. Erik, on the other hand, focused on leisure, hiring a personal tennis coach, traveling extensively, and shopping for expensive designer clothes in Beverly Hills. Their extravagant behavior didn't go unnoticed, all while their parents' blood was still being cleaned from the walls. Detectives began to wonder, would two grieving sons, whose parents had just been brutally murdered, really be out spending like celebrities? The brothers' calm demeanor, their public appearances, and their reckless spending began to cast doubt on their innocence. Yet, suspicion alone wasn't enough. The police had no solid evidence linking them to the crime. No murder weapon, no witnesses, and no confession. For months, the Menendez brothers seemed untouchable, living freely in luxury while their parents' murders remained unsolved. But the truth was only a matter of time, and eventually, it would come from their own mouths. Chapter 5. A Confession and a Betrayal. Erik Menendez was drowning in guilt. In October 1989, just 2 months after the murders, he sought help from Dr. José Oziel, a Beverly Hills psychologist. During their private therapy sessions, Erik's composure began to crumble. Overwhelmed by fear and remorse, he finally confessed the unthinkable. "We did it. We killed them." Unbeknownst to Erik, his words would not stay within the safety of the therapist's office. Dr. Oziel recorded their sessions, and his mistress, who overheard parts of the shocking confession, later went to the police after she separated with him. That single act shattered the brothers' carefully constructed facade. After months of speculation and whispers surrounding the Menendez family, the truth had finally surfaced. In March 1990, the story that once captivated Beverly Hills with its tragedy took a darker, undeniable turn. Both brothers were arrested, charged with the brutal murders of José and Kitty Menendez. The arrest sent shockwaves through the community. The two young men once seen as victims of a mysterious crime were now the prime suspects. Their lives of wealth, privilege, and fame came crashing down overnight. The Menendez fairy tale had ended, replaced by a real-life nightmare. Chapter 6. The Trial That Divided America. The Menendez trial quickly became one of the most sensational courtroom dramas in American history, often compared to the O.J. Simpson case for the way it captivated the nation. The Menendez trial became a media phenomenon. Court TV broadcast every moment. Millions tuned in daily. America couldn't look away. The prosecution story was simple. Two spoiled rich kids wanted their father's money, now. They pointed to the $14 million inheritance, the the spending sprees, the Rolex, the Porsche, the trips to Europe, the cold, calculated way they created an alibi. The prosecution argued this was textbook premeditated murder, driven by pure greed. But then the defense told a story that shocked the nation. For the first time publicly, the world heard what Erik and Lyle claimed happened behind closed doors. Years of emotional, physical, and sexual abuse at the hands of their father, José Menendez. The defense didn't deny the brothers killed their parents. Instead, they argued these weren't cold-blooded murders. They were acts of desperation by two deeply traumatized young men who believed their father was about to kill them. America didn't know what to believe. Chapter 7. The Defense, a House of Secrets. When Erik Menendez took the stand, the courtroom fell silent. His voice trembled as he described what he said happened in that house. He claimed his father, José Menendez, had sexually and emotionally abused him from age 6 until just days before the murders. He described being taken to his father's bedroom, being photographed naked, being told this was their secret. Even more shocking, he said their mother, Kitty, had known about the abuse but chose to call him a liar, ignore it, and at times even enabled it. The audience and jurors were stunned. Gasps filled the courtroom as the brothers' long-hidden family secrets spilled into public view. When Lyle testified, he revealed that he too had been molested by José until he was 8 when he fought back. He described their home as a prison of fear, where both sons lived under constant emotional and physical torment. Their father's rage was unpredictable and terrifying. Their defense claimed the murders were not acts of greed or hatred, but acts of survival. According to their account, the night of August 20th, 1989, was the breaking point. After years of abuse, they believed their father was about to kill them when Lyle confronted him about molesting Erik. In a state of panic and terror, they grabbed shotguns and struck first. The testimony divided the nation. Were Lyle and Erik cold-blooded murderers hiding behind fabricated abuse? Or tragic victims driven to an unthinkable act by years of trauma? Chapter 8. The Verdict. The first trial ended in 1994 with a hung jury. America was deeply divided. Some saw Erik and Lyle as abuse survivors who'd been pushed too far. Others saw manipulative killers hiding behind fabricated trauma. When the second trial began, everything changed. The judge made a crucial ruling. Much of the brothers' abuse testimony would be inadmissible. Without that emotional context, the narrative shifted completely. The Menendez brothers no longer appeared as terrified victims. Instead, they looked like calm, calculating young men who murdered their wealthy parents for money. In 1996, both Lyle and Erik Menendez were convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison, without the possibility of parole. As the verdict was read, the courtroom was filled with tears. Kitty's sister wept uncontrollably. The brothers sat motionless, staring at the floor. For 22 years, they served their sentences in separate prisons, communicating only through letters. Then, in 2018, they were finally reunited at the same correctional facility in San Diego. Two brothers bound forever by blood, tragedy, and a crime that still divides public opinion today. But the story doesn't end there. Chapter 9. The Enduring Legacy. More than 3 decades later, the Menendez brothers' case refused to die. In 2024, Netflix's series Monsters: The Lyle and Erik Menendez Story introduced the case to a new generation. Suddenly, millions of young people who'd never heard of the Menendez brothers were debating their guilt on TikTok, Twitter X, and YouTube. And something surprising happened. A movement began. Gen Z, raised with greater awareness of trauma and abuse, started questioning whether justice was truly served. In May 2023, the brothers filed new evidence. A letter Erik allegedly wrote to a cousin 8 months before the murders, describing the ongoing abuse. If authenticated, it could corroborate their claims. The debate rages on. Were they abused sons pushed beyond their breaking point, or ruthless killers who crafted the perfect defense? Perhaps the truth is more complex than either side wants to admit. The Menendez brothers remain in prison today, still claiming they acted in self-defense, and a world still divided by what really happened inside that Beverly Hills mansion. Because in the end, Even monsters have their side of the story. You've been watching Evil Crime Archives, where we uncover the darkest truths behind the world's most shocking crimes. What are your thoughts on the Menendez case? Let us know in the comments below. Subscribe now for more true crime stories that reveal the chilling reality behind the American dream. New videos every week. Thanks for watching. Stay curious and stay safe.